Hi everyone, here back at the Surbiton site. So the demolition part one is sort of been completed, and we're just sort of now doing some investigations. I've done a topographical survey and a ground scan, and what we found is we have a drain manhole which is currently positioned there just at the rear of the shop and the extension. So we've got a downpipe that's coming from the flats upstairs, which is obviously feeding into that manhole there. Now, according to the Thames Water plans, the data mapping from Thames Water showed the drain here was feeding up to the main street into from the shop front there and through the floor there. But after further investigation, we found that's not the case. All the other gas, electric, telecoms all come from the front into the property. So clean water, gas, electric, and telecoms are all fed through that point. But the waste effectively is coming from here and then basically following it down into a second manhole, which is situated there. And then what we've done is we've dug down, and what we've established is that there is now, if you look closely, we found another pipe there. So essentially what is happening is you've got the pipe running from here along here, going down, reaching at this manhole, which is about 0.7 meters deep, and then it sort of goes into a further gradient down until it reaches that point, which is about 1.2 meters. And then it's basically going straight along there under the property and out to the road. But what I suspect is also, we're just trying to establish, the guys are digging to see whether that pipe is also connected to the neighbouring property. Now, if that's the case, it then becomes a public drain. As soon as you get a second connection to that, to a pipe. So we've got our pipe going into that, but if there's another pipe coming from the adjoining property, we then have to get what is called a build-over agreement, because it becomes what they call a minor sewage and effectively defaults as a public drain. So that's the sort of situation that we're dealing with now. So once we've established whether that connection is there, if it is, we apply for a build-over agreement. And what that essentially means is that because the building has to sit on top of that, we need to create a structure to protect that pipe and that connection, to ensure that the building or the foundations doesn't impact on that or potentially cause a breakage, which obviously will impact other properties. So what that effectively means is you create a metal frame or some sort of concrete frame around those pipes, and then you can then build on top of that, and then once you've done that, photographed it, sent it across to Thames Water, you then essentially get a certificate which is called a build-over agreement, which then effectively protects Thames Water, but also protects you in case of a problem tomorrow. But by having that agreement in place allows you to continue building, because without it, then the building control would not effectively sign off the building at a later point in time. So hopefully that explains to you a little bit about some of the drainage side of things. But yeah, good to know that even if you get the data maps from Thames Water, a lot of them are out of date, because a lot of these data mappings that were done by Thames Water were only done sort of 15-20 years ago. And these properties, like I said, some of these drains were probably fitted many years before that. So a lot of these drains, particularly since they've now got connections from the neighbouring properties, are outside the data mapping schedule from Thames Water. So it's always a good thing to make sure that you establish where all your connections are. And these are the sort of, I mean, like I said, this was not something we picked up on straight away. It's only after digging and a bit of investigation that we managed to find. We were only on the assumption it was a one drain, and then obviously because this was all grass on top of this, so this was completely hidden. So it's always good to do a little bit of investigation. Hence, I would always urge you to do what they call a ground scan and a topographical survey of the land in principle, just to establish where all utilities are coming from. Because when you're building, if you haven't got gas, you haven't got electric, and you have no means of waste or clean water, then you've got a bit of a problem. But fortunately, all the other utilities are fine. This is a minor inconvenience, but we'll deal with it, and then we'll have the build-over agreement done. Thank you.